Morgan, can you tell me a little more about what kind of programming that you're doing and what you're looking to do?
So right now, I'm focusing more on modeling actually. So modeling in Blender. So that's
Gotcha.
making character models. I'm learning how to like add detail without making things too high resolution, causing lag. But for the coding specifically, it's quite simple Roblox Lua code. So and then on a side project, I'll do some website work for a game.
Awesome, awesome. Makes sense. That's great. Let's start by talking about Blender. Have you ever heard of Blender MCP before?
I have not.
Sunny, it's a little bit of a weird here. I'm gonna drop it in chat here so that you have it.
Okay.
Okay. This is it's a little bit technical, but since you're a technical person, I think you'll have no problem with it. So an MCP, okay, it stands for Model Context Protocol. Doesn't really matter, okay? That doesn't matter. What matters is that the essence of it is that you talk to an AI model and it interacts with external software and helps you produce stuff in that external software, okay? So what's happening in this video, okay? On the left-hand side is Claude, which is a prominent AI model, right? And this person is talking to Claude about building this cabin. And on the right, I'm sure you can recognize here, there's a cabin that's being made live in Blender. And that's because the AI is steering Blender via the Blender API. Does everything I said, does that make sense so far, Morgan? What I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
so it's just incorporating AI into Blender and it's like working.
Yeah. So this is like MCPs like this for your own tool chain are a really powerful way to get more done in the kind of like in whatever tool that you happen to be using. So in this case, right, like rather than having to drag out all of these, Blender forms and all this stuff manually in Blender, you could start by saying, hey, give me like a basic house shape. And then Blender's going to give you the basic house shape. And then, okay, add a chimney. Okay, cool. Add some trees. And then of course you can always go into Blender and you can customize it to get it dialed in exactly to your liking. But the point is that a lot of the boilerplate stuff, right? Like the boring stuff of like dragging out a rectangle for the thousandth time in Blender, you don't have to do because the AI can do that very, very fast because it's a very simple task for it. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
So Blender MCP, it's an open source project, and there's some like installation instructions here, but I would say if you're doing 3D modeling in Blender, it's definitely worth a shot. You will also need to download Claude Desktop, okay, to get the kind of conversation between Claude and Blender going. But that was probably be a massive time saver for your 3D modeling and probably increase your output a lot. And it'll probably be more fun because you'll be able to focus more on like the creative vision of what you're doing rather than all the annoying little details of like interacting with Blender, right?
Right.
Let me drop this in. Okay. Does that make sense? We can talk about Lua and stuff here in a minute as well, but
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
okay, cool. So you mentioned Roblox, right? So Roblox, I guess Roblox has Roblox Studio, and then you also mentioned web development. Can you tell
Right.
me what are you building? What web development stuff are you building?
I'm not like trying to build a website. I'm going on something called Fandom, which is like Wikimedia code, and it
Okay,
incorporates Lua, CSS, and HTML
okay,
into just editing a website, and it's just for a game, so other people can view its updates and what guides, I guess.
okay, cool, gotcha. So primarily, right, if you were picking a language to get better at right now, it would be Lua. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Lua is a more difficult model of the HTML and CSS.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. That makes sense. So have you ever heard of Claude Code or used this?
I've heard of it, but I haven't really like experimented with it.
So if I were learning to code in the current world that we are in, and I were working on a new language, this is what I would start with. Okay. Now, Have you ever used the terminal at all? It's actually what we were running over here for this for Dylan's story generator. Have you ever used the terminal?
Yeah, I have actually. Just
Okay,
not really like
awesome.
for any big tasks.
So Claude Code runs in the terminal, and you talk to it a bit like we were doing here, but instead of giving you, a story or whatever, it's going to give you code, and it's going to like actually read your code files and generate more code. Now, when you start using Claude Code, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I don't want to use this because then I'm never going to learn, and then the AI is going to take my engineering job, and then I'm not going to be able to be a professional engineer, et cetera, et cetera. But there's two reasons why I think that's not true. The first is that actually, let me just show you, and let me just fire it up, and it'll be easier to show than do. So I'm now in Claude Code. Okay.
Right.
What I can do is I can actually put Claude in a mode that's called learning, and I would recommend that you do this. Because what happens is that Claude will generate a portion of your Lua code, and then it will pause and it will tell you, you implement this part, and then you manually write in that part. And that back and forth between like someone else is generating a little bit of the code and then you're generating some of it, that is actually how most people really learn how to code, because they pair program with someone. But finding someone to pair program with who wants to sit with you all day and do that is hard. Now there is a tireless AI that will do it for you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? So if let's say I'm going to put this in learning mode. Now, I obviously don't have a Lua project here, but what I could do is I could say, help me, let's say, I want more colorful terminal output in my choose your own adventure project. Every scene, make the text red. And I can tell Claude to give me a plan for how it is that it might do this. And it's going to think about it. It's going to read some of the files, and then it's going to give me a plan. All right. And then I can execute on that plan myself. I can have it execute some. I can do this back and forth collaboration. So long story short, okay, like I know this probably looks like the interface probably may look a little bit overwhelming, but you get used to it pretty fast because you're kind of just in conversation with it. You can ship code a lot faster this way. And you can also learn, in my opinion, faster this way, because like, okay, so here is Claude telling me, hey, these are the changes I think we need to make. We need to update this function, right? And we need to apply the red color to the text, right? And then I need to update this portion so that I get these new colors. And as you go back and forth with Claude, you start evolving your application and can get that, can ship your code faster and dial that in.